My aunt ridiculed my decision to attend trade school, only to plead for my help when her heater broke during a brutal cold snap. I sent her back a meme with my service rates and let the freezing temperatures respond for me. It was just another Tuesday. This unfolded in our family group chat. You know, the kind cluttered with blurry selfies and GIFs that stopped being funny a decade ago, alongside Aunt Rebecca's daily, inspirational quotes that looked like they were lifted straight from Karen's social media feed. Most days I'd mute the chat and keep scrolling, but this time Rebecca sent a meme that left me stunned. It was a cartoon of a scruffy guy with a wrench and a lopsided cap, glaring at a smoking furnace. Bold red text above it screamed, "Trade school equals flopping with tools and crying about it." My name was tagged not once but twice. She even added a comment, "Couldn't help myself." "Sorry," followed by a not-so-sorry winking emoji. My cousin Sarah replied with a skull emoji and a laughing face. "He's gonna lose it," she wrote. My mom piled on with a chuckling emoji. That's when I quietly exited the group chat. No grand farewell, no dramatic sign-off, just a tap on leave group, and I was done. If they saw me as the family punchline, I wasn't going to stick around to clap for their jokes. I wasn't about to justify a life they'd already written off as unworthy of praise. Let me back up. Growing up, I was the kid who tinkered. At 11, I dismantled our microwave to fix its turntable. Spoiler. I didn't succeed, but I gave it a shot. When our porch light started flickering, I rewired it using a sketchy tutorial buried on page 4 of a DIY forum. My bedroom looked like a hardware store exploded. Sockets, wires, broken remotes. I didn't play with toys, I collected tools. My parents didn't get it. They weren't cruel, just indifferent. My dad, an accountant who treated spreadsheets like holy scripture, would say, "You've got skills, but no focus." My mom, a biology teacher, called my projects adorable hobbies. When I showed her a fix I'd rigged up or tried explaining what I was learning, she'd smile like I was a kid waving a finger-painted masterpiece. Meanwhile, Sarah got a cake just for announcing she was expecting. At family gatherings, Sarah would drone on about her internships, and everyone listened like she was delivering a TED Talk. I once mentioned I was studying HVAC systems, and someone asked if that was like cleaning air ducts. By high school, I stopped trying to win them over. I wasn't failing, but I wasn't collecting trophies either. No honors classes, no future CEO awards, just me in the back row doodling circuit diagrams and wondering if anyone would ever take me seriously. After graduation, I tried college, lasted 2 semesters. It felt like running a marathon in shoes that didn't fit. I sat through lectures on corporate finance and existential philosophy, daydreaming about pressure valves and heat exchangers. It wasn't that I couldn't handle it, I just didn't want it. So I dropped out, enrolled in trade school, and when I told my family, the silence was louder than words. Until Rebecca piped up, "Well, at least you won't be unclogging toilets forever." Cue the snide remarks, the helpful suggestions, and my dad's barely hidden disappointment, so I stopped sharing. I studied, worked, and kept my head low. Now, months from graduating trade school, I was apprenticing with a local HVAC tech who actually respected me. I finally felt like I was building something worthwhile. That's why Rebecca's meme stung more than it should have. It wasn't just a dumb joke. It was a reminder that no matter how hard I worked, how many certifications I earned, or how many heaters I fixed, they saw my path as the lesser one, a warning to others. So yeah, I ditched the group chat and didn't look back. After I left, I thought someone might reach out. Maybe Dad. Maybe my younger cousin Jake, who once tagged along for a career day project and said, "Dude, your toolbox is epic." But nothing. No, you okay? Or Rebecca went too far. Just digital silence. At first, it hurt more than I'd admit. I'd scroll through old threads, birthday shoutouts, engagement announcements, and wonder how I could be so close to these people yet feel like a stranger. But that silence turned into space, and space became peace. Trade school wasn't a fallback, it was a fresh start. I joined a local program covering HVAC, electrical work, and hands-on training. It clicked for me. No more zoning out in lecture halls with outdated textbooks. I was in basements, troubleshooting faulty systems, learning why heat pumps fail under stress or why vents whistle in the cold. It wasn't flashy, but it was real, and for the first time in years, I was exactly where I belonged. My mentor, Tom, was a grizzled ex-Navy mechanic with a bad back, a sharp wit, and a soft spot for quiet learners. He chewed me out once for botching a thermostat install, but handed me his spare multimeter the next day like it was a badge of honor. "Your hands know what they're doing," he said, chuckling. "Don't let anyone who's never touched a wrench tell you different." It was the closest thing to praise I'd gotten from an older guy who didn't wear a suit. My days were packed, classes in the morning, apprenticeship in the afternoon, weekend gigs for neighbors needing cheap fixes. My uniform, work pants, steel-toe boots, and a jacket stained with sealant. Meanwhile, my family was out there living their lives. I caught glimpses. Sarah's posts showed her toasting at corporate events or posing by a fireplace with captions like, "Choose warmth, not chaos," probably aimed at me. Whatever, I was too busy tightening ductwork and memorizing breaker box layouts to care. Still, there were moments, little stabs, like when Mom sent a group photo from Sarah's law school brunch, complete with fancy napkins and a live violinist. I wasn't included in the email chain. I only saw it because Jake accidentally forwarded it to an old school listserv, or when Dad's social media post went viral in our town's group. So proud of Sarah for taking the scholarly route. Not everyone has the guts for the tough path. I laughed, then went back to fixing a gas leak in a crawlspace so cold I could see my breath. That was my life, working in places no one wanted to be, solving problems no one else understood, building a future no one else saw yet. And the wild thing, I was content. Not in a picture-perfect social media way, but in a deep, bone-level way. The kind of satisfaction you get from finishing a job, peeling off your gloves, and knowing you fixed something that matters. I didn't need their validation. But yeah, I noticed the silence, especially when the weather turned. Winter crept in, and I started getting calls from people I hadn't heard from in months. The first name that popped up made my eyebrows shoot up like a busted valve. Unknown number, voicemail. I hit play and heard Rebecca's voice, tense, frantic. "Hey, it's Rebecca, our heater's dead and there's a frost advisory coming. It's going below 0 tonight. The kids are bundled up and I heard you do heating now. Call me back ASAP, please." I stared at my phone, then at the thermostat manual in my hand, then at an old photo where Rebecca had cropped me out of a holiday picture, claiming it was a glitch. It was barely November. Winter hadn't even hit full force, and I was already getting frostbite apologies. The cold snapped in hard. Overnight, temps dropped 20 degrees, pipes froze, and the town's social media turned into a collective meltdown. People who hadn't texted me in years suddenly remembered my name. "Hey man, long time. Quick question. Still doing furnaces? Got a friend whose grandma's place is freezing. Not for me, but could you swing by? Do you do free estimates?" I was pulling 16-hour days, running on gas station tacos and coffee strong enough to jumpstart a car. But I was in my element. Business was booming. My van's heater was shot, but I was too busy fixing everyone else's to care. Tom had warned me, "When winter hits, you'll be the town's MVP." He wasn't wrong. By week's end, I'd fixed 14 heat pumps, rewired 5 thermostats, and pulled a dead rat from a vent system. Don't ask. My back ached, my hands were chapped from cold metal, and my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Then it happened. A text came through while I was wrestling a blower motor in a basement that reeked of old soup and regret. "Rebecca. Hey, it's Rebecca. I need your help. Furnace is out. House is freezing. It's urgent. No, how are you? No pleasantries, just straight to urgent." I stared at the screen, letting the irony settle like ice. She'd sent a meme 2 weeks ago calling me a failure with tools. Now I was her lifeline in a freeze. The universe has a wicked sense of humor. I didn't reply right away, not to gloat, okay, maybe a little, but to be deliberate. I finished the job, drove home, showered, ate something that wasn't wrapped in foil, and then sat down with my phone. I scrolled back to the meme. The cartoon guy, the wrench, the trade school equals failure, jab, my name tagged twice. I screenshotted it, attached it to a message, and typed, "Still think I'm a failure?" Sent. Waited 5 minutes. Nothing. Typing bubbles appeared, vanished, reappeared, then gone. I went to bed grinning. The next morning, my phone was chaos. Missed calls, texts from cousins, even Mom. "Maybe you're overreacting. It was just a joke. Can you move on?" Move on? I wasn't holding on to anything. I wasn't handing out free fixes to people who mocked my trade instead of understanding it. Rebecca tried again, more desperate. "I'm sorry if the meme was too much. I didn't think you'd take it personally. The kids are cold, please." I'm not heartless. I know what cold does, but I also know what disrespect feels like. So I sent my business card. "Book an appointment. Standard rates. Emergency fees apply." 10 seconds later, she called. I didn't answer. Another text. "I'm your family." Funny, I thought. Now I'm family, not when I chose trade school. Not when I got certified. Not when I built my skills from nothing. But now, with her house turning into an icebox, I was family. Let her call someone else. This failure with tools was fully booked. By the end of the week, half the family tree had reached out, uncles, cousins, in-laws, even Rebecca's friends. When pipes froze and heaters died, failure with tools took on a new meaning. One text read, "Heard you're swamped, but can you squeeze us in? The baby's sick." No name, just guilt and emojis. Another gem from cousin Mark. "Yo, bro, my heater's making a banging noise. Think it'll hold up?" He attached a blurry video of a unit that sounded like it was choking on screws. I didn't reply. When you start from nothing, crawling through dusty vents to make a living, you don't owe favors to people who laughed at your foundation. Rebecca wasn't done. After her first frantic text, she tried a softer approach. "We'll pay your rates. I know we got off on the wrong foot." Wrong foot? She posted a meme calling me a walking letdown and tagged me twice like it was a comedy show. I finished my job, cleaned up, and dug up the meme again. Sent it back with, "Still think I'm a failure." Her typing bubble popped up and vanished twice. Then, "The kids are cold. Please." Guilt tried to creep in, but I'd spent years trying to prove myself to a family that only looked up when they needed something. I sent my business card again. Standard rates. Emergency calls double. She didn't reply, but Mom did, calling the next morning, no pleasantries. "Josh," she snapped, "call your aunt." I paused. "You mean the one who made me a punchline then begged for a fix? She's family." There it was, the guilt trip. Family, as if that erased everything. "Funny," I said. "She didn't call me family when she said HVAC was for dropouts or cropped me out of the newsletter." Mom sighed like I was being dramatic. "It was just a meme." "No," I said, "it was years of being dismissed, wrapped in a JPEG." She hung up, no goodbye, just silence. I stood there, then laughed. For the first time in ages, I wasn't mad. I didn't need their approval. I was booked, valued by clients, my crew, and the people who mattered. Most importantly, I wasn't chasing their validation anymore. 2 weeks after blocking Rebecca, I got a call from a realtor, Melissa. "Are you the guy who fixed the Johnson heater last month?" "Yep, that's me. I've got a property needing an urgent inspection before it lists." She gave the address, a 2-story house with red shutters by Willow Creek. I chuckled. It was Rebecca's place. I didn't say anything, just nodded to myself, the way you do when the universe hands you a punchline. Melissa met me at the house 2 days later. Rebecca had temporarily moved out due to multiple system failures. Melissa used the tone realtors save for selling fixer-uppers without saying disaster. I walked in, hit by stale air and the faint smell of burnt dust. The house was freezing, the kind of cold that settles into your bones like it's personal. I checked the ductwork, vents, furnace. It was a mess, a textbook case of neglected maintenance. Filters so clogged they could have been rugs. Wiring untouched for decades. The system was screaming for a break. I snapped photos, took notes, and gave Melissa the full report. She winced. "Oof, this is bad." "Yep," I said. "Whoever lived here didn't believe in upkeep." She nodded slowly. "Rebecca mentioned a nephew in HVAC, said she wasn't sure he was legit." I grinned, guess she was right. Melissa didn't press, and by the time I finished, it was dark. Snow was falling again. I stepped off the porch, boots crunching, and glanced back at the house, picturing Rebecca shivering in some overpriced rental, wondering why her family had gone quiet. Then my phone buzzed. "Sarah, of all people. Hey, hope you're good. Saw you're working with realtors now. That's awesome. I could connect you with some people. Let's catch up soon." No apology, no mention of the meme, just a pivot to networking like we were buddies who'd lost touch. I didn't reply, but I screenshotted it, adding it to my folder labeled, "Where was this energy before?" Later that week, Rebecca's husband, Uncle Paul, left a voicemail. He'd once called my HVAC work a phase. "Josh, buddy, heard you stopped by the house. Things are crazy. Rebecca can overreact, you know how it is." Then the real ask. "If you could patch things up, nothing fancy, we're a bit strapped." Of course they were. The house wouldn't sell without a working heater, and the only guy who could fix it was the one they'd mocked. I didn't call back. I sent an invoice. Full rates, no discounts, no spite, just business. A week later, Melissa emailed, "Hey Josh, they're holding off on selling until spring. Heater repairs are on pause, thanks again." Rebecca saw the invoice, balked, and chose to freeze. Fair enough. Halfway through another job, a client tagged me in a local social media post. "Shout out to Right Fix HVAC. Josh showed up on time, didn't overcharge, and explained everything clearly. Highly recommend." It got dozens of likes, then shares, then a comment. "Wait, isn't this Rachel Hammond's nephew? Didn't she say he wasn't a real pro? Popcorn ready." Suddenly, my inbox was a reunion. Old friends, distant cousins, high school acquaintances. "Didn't know you were killing it, man. Rachel looks foolish now, lol. Always knew you'd do big things." Even Mom texted, "Your business is getting buzz, that's great. Maybe you can let go of the meme thing now." Let go? They'd thrown that meme like a brick at my back, and now I was supposed to shrug it off. I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a photo of myself by my work van, holding a new certification. EPA licensed technician. Caption, not bad for a tool-flopping failure, proud of my hustle, proud of my path, stay warm, folks. It wasn't petty, okay, it was a little petty, but it was honest. The comments flooded in, clients, neighbors, trade school peers, people who saw the work, not just the path. Rebecca didn't comment, but her name popped up in the views. Later, my apprentice Ethan, 19 and fresh out of school, asked, "Was that your aunt on the local news complaining about frozen pipes?" I blinked. "What?" He showed me a clip. Rebecca, bundled in a scarf indoors, saying, "It's just shocking. We thought the system would hold another year." No mention of me, no mention of ignoring the issues, just classic deflection. I shrugged. "You'll learn, kid. Some people only value your work when it's on TV." He laughed. "So we fixing her place or not?" "Nah," I said. "Her neighbor tips better." We packed the van. The day ended like any other. Sore muscles, calloused hands, another house warmed up, and a new layer of confidence I didn't know I'd earned. Most of all, every room I stepped into felt warmer than the family I'd left behind. By February, I'd handled nearly 60 service calls in 2 months. My boots were beat, my voicemail was maxed, and my van's cup holder had a permanent coffee ring. They say you've made it when you can relax. I hadn't slowed down, but something shifted. I wasn't just fixing heaters, I was being seen. People waved at my van. Strangers stopped me at gas stations. The town newsletter called me a local business hero. Then came the kicker. I was nominated for a community business award. 2 clients had submitted my name. I didn't even know there was a nomination process. The letter came in a shiny envelope with a cheesy trophy graphic. I stared at it, not used to being celebrated by people who weren't comparing their kids at Christmas dinner. I posted about it on my business page, nothing flashy. "Honored to serve this community. Thanks for the nod." Likes poured in, clients, neighbors, other techs, even trade school classmates. Then I saw it. Rebecca liked the post. No comment, no message, just a quiet like. Then a note from her, the first in months. "Saw your post. Congrats. I know we've had our differences, but you've really done something. Maybe we can talk soon and clear things up." No apology, no mention of the meme. Just a soft tap on a door she'd helped slam shut. I didn't reply, not out of anger, but by choice. Some bridges don't burn, they ice over. And I'd built my own roads. I kept working, growing. I took Ethan on his first solo fix, a heater in an old townhouse. The owner gave us cookies and a mug that said "thanks a bunch" in goofy font. Ethan grinned the whole drive back. "You always know what to say to clients," he said. I shrugged. "The best ones ignored me first." He looked confused. I laughed. "You'll figure it out. Keep showing up." That afternoon, I showed him the storefront I'd just leased. A small space on Maple and First, with room for a desk, 2 workbenches, and a storage area. It wasn't much, but it felt like the future. I unlocked the door and let him walk in first. "This is ours." "Ours?" I nodded. "We're not just fixing things, we're building something that'll outlast the cold." He looked around, already planning. "Can we get a neon sign?" "Let's not go wild," I said, but he was already dreaming. Spring came early that year, not poetically, just less snow, fewer burst pipes, and slightly fewer 2 a.m. calls about possessed furnaces. Business didn't slow much, it just changed pace. Inspections, cleanings, system upgrades. The urgency faded, but the momentum stayed. I started getting commercial gigs. Hardware stores wanted partnerships. Realtors saved my card. People asked for me by name. I used to be the kid nobody noticed at family dinners, the one asked, "So what's your deal now?" Now my name carried weight, not because I demanded it, but because I earned it. One Saturday, Ethan and I were setting up the new office when he asked, "You going to that family barbecue next weekend?" I froze. I wasn't invited. He raised an eyebrow. "For real?" "For real." I hadn't expected an invite, but hearing it out loud stung more than I thought. Part of me hoped they'd reach out, even with a lazy group text. Nothing. Then Ethan said, "Wanna throw our own?" I laughed. "What, like a grand opening cookout?" "Why not?" he said. "You've got a van, a shop, and a mug that says thanks a bunch. Let's celebrate." So we did. Folding tables out front, a buddy's grill, flyers to clients and neighbors, a sign that read, "Right Fix HVAC." Free hot dogs with your heater tune-up. Dozens showed up, clients, their kids, a realtor who slipped me a referral. Even Tom stopped by, grumbling, "Not bad for a kid who tripped over cords." Then, as I wiped ketchup off my shirt, I saw her, Rebecca, across the street, watching. No heels, no sunglasses, just jeans and a jacket, her face unreadable. She didn't come over, didn't wave, just stood there, then walked away. And you know what? I didn't feel angry or victorious or anything post-worthy. I felt free. I wasn't invisible anymore. I didn't need her to see me. The whole town already had. That night after cleanup, I sat alone in the new office. Lights low, boots off, I leaned back in a creaky chair and let out a long, thankful breath. On my desk was the meme, printed, folded, and taped shut. I picked it up, smiled, and tossed it in the trash, not because it didn't hurt, but because it didn't matter anymore. Ethan walked in with coffee. "What's next, boss?" I thought for a second. Maybe hire another tech, maybe get another van, maybe take a damn day off. "Let's keep building," I said. He grinned, one furnace at a time. As I looked at the walls I'd painted, the business I'd built, and the warmth I'd brought to strangers, I realized something. The coziest place I'd ever been was the one I'd created myself.